Hi, and welcome to the A Show, of the wrestling podcast that we hope is the first of many. I'm Alex Giancopoulos, here with my good friend Anthony Blando, and this is a Raw wrap-up show. So we go over Raw that you saw last night, and, review it, go over our opinions and all that. So we're going to go over Brodus Clay and his interesting entrance, Chris Jericho working the crowd until he cried, Edge and the Four Horsemen being inducted in the Hall of Fame, Jack Swagger and his controversial kickout, the main event, Dolph Ziggler and John Cena featuring Kane, and Kane's adventures after that match. And then we'll hit it with a lockup question, but we'll get more to that when it's time. Anyway, Brodus Clay, we saw him 4 months ago as the Fall of Mankind. Came out to some heavy metal music, would tear jobbers apart, and he got some heat for it. Comes back, Funkasaurus Rex. It's an interesting transformation, to say the least. Left a lot of people confused, including, me. So, Anthony, want to shed a little light on that? Do you make sense of this, or?
I don't make any sense of it, really. We know that Brodus Clay is kind of a creative mind. For anybody who doesn't know, he came up with his own gimmick in the beginning. Well, debatable whether people think it's creative. He came up with it by himself, meaning he's capable of coming up with gimmicks. If this is his follow-up to the Fall of Mankind, the big guy who would tear people apart, the monster heel kind of guy, I'm confused. You know what I mean? I don't even know what to say. I'm in the same boat as you guys. We saw a Funkasaurus Rex come out last week, dancing to the Cat's old theme song.
Yeah.
That's a hard question. I cannot shine any light on that.
It's okay. And the fans were as confused as everybody else. And they were so confused, there was no reaction. There was no heat and no pop. So right now
we did hear a big "You suck, Brodus Clay."
That was funny, yeah. But besides that, fans are confused. Is he gonna go face or heel? Maybe it'll be like a heel Funkasaurus or a face. I have no idea where it's going.
I could definitely see it being a face.
Yeah,
that's for sure. But that's only time will tell.
He could also pull
is
heel.
His gimmick.
It could be like one of those dumb gimmicks that like are sort of obnoxious people hate.
Oh,
They could do that.
Because it could get old really fast.
Yeah.
Definitely. So let's keep moving on. And what else happened Monday Night Raw? Jericho comes back out. We're expecting a big kind of talk from him, and instead, you tell us.
So, to anyone who's been hiding under a wrestling rock for the past 4 months, the show was interrupted by these It Begins second 2012 trailers, and what they were a little kid in a blazer scribbling notes, quoting Bible passages, talking about how January 2nd was the end of the world. Okay, so fast forward like 3 months, the day comes, we find out it's Chris Jericho, the fans give him a predictable pop. Doesn't say a word. Does not say a word, works the crowd for 10 minutes and leaves. So you think, going into this week, he'll shed some light on it. He'll help us out, we'll get it, we'll understand, we'll move on. The opposite is what we got. He came out, worked the crowd for 5 minutes, started crying, and left. So this makes me think we're not going to get an answer from him for a long time. It's not going to be a next week, here's the answer thing. He could come out, show a different emotion, like angry or something, and then go back inside.
And it'll be Jericho, the display of all human emotion.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'm thinking, how long can he carry this on until it gets stale? The crowd's not going to accept it anymore. He's going to start getting boos, and I think then we'll start seeing Jericho come out and hopefully go for the best in the world against the best in the world. I'd love to see that match against the man CM Punk, WWE Champion. Moving on. Big matches this week, one of them being Jack Swagger and CM Punk. There was a very controversial kick out at the end of this match. I'd like to say it was a ref botch, but let me give you the rundown here. It starts out, we had a great back and forth. It was kind of looking in CM Punk's favor a tiny bit. CM Punk reversed the ankle lock, his signature move, and the gut wrench suplex, which I consider Jack Swagger's finisher simply because it's more awesome.
Yeah.
Swagger hits a hard belly-to-belly slam, then goes for a superplex, gets headbutted off the turnbuckle, takes a nice elbow drop from Punk. Then there's a 3 count. The match is over with a very close kick out from Jack Swagger. CM Punk looks furious if you look at his face. Looks like some cuss words come out of his mouth. And then they show us the slow motion. So whether it's a botch or not is debatable, because why would they show the slow motion?
Exactly, yeah.
Jack Swagger absolutely did not kick out too late. They show you the slow motion, his shoulder's up.
Yeah, it was extremely anticlimactic, and that's the thing. We've never seen Punk finish with an elbow drop, that's not one of his signatures, to my, knowledge. It just seemed like it was a ref botch. And, I guess if there was a ref botch, do they continue with it? Do they do a rematch next week? Or do they drop it? Because it's not like Swagger is a serious competitor for the championship. I mean, he's a great wrestler, and he's a great grappler, but he still has a lot to learn. And I think he's already declared that he's going for the U.S. championship anyway. I think this was like a, exhibition match, so to say. So they might just leave it at this, forget about it, because if it is a botch or isn't a botch, I mean, what happens if Swagger wins? He always has a match with Ziggler at Royal Rumble. It'd be forgotten about.
Right. So they're gonna get over it.
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. That's
nothing can come of that. Great main event. I've been waiting for this one for a while. Dolph Ziggler versus John Cena, the former WWE champion. I love Ziggler. He's got great charisma.
Yes.
Enormous amounts of skill. And this match was great because I feel like they're finally pushing him. They're showing us that he's kind of in the same league as Cena as far as if you can, I guess, work a crowd and put on a great match. Let me give you a quick rundown. Started off really strong, great back and forth. It quickly became a showcase of Ziggler's moves. He hits the Fameasser, the hair slick elbow thing, goes into a headstand in the middle of a headlock. I mean, this guy is overflowing with charisma. Then Cena makes a comeback with his big drop things, and then, basically Kane's footage interrupts and the match goes downhill from there.
He kind of vanishes, yeah.
Definitely. We see Ziggler put on the hold, then they go back to footage, come back to the ring. Ziggler's gone.
Poof, yeah.
Case of the Phantom Ziggler, and then Cena runs out. He tries to take on Kane, loses, and, it ends there. We don't really get to see what happened to Eve in the car either.
It was a good match, though.
It was going. It was very flashy.
Two very good competitors.
Two very charismatic wrestlers.
Very, very, very. And you did see a lot of Ziggler. You saw a lot of his signature moves, and you saw a lot of his flair, like doing sit-ups while Cena was down. I love that.
That was brilliant.
Isn't that great?
Oh, yeah.
And the headstand hold, that was awesome.
Funny.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And we would love to see more from him. But this match ending with Kane coming out and beating the crap out of Cena just makes me think back since Kane's come back. He's just this force that can take down basically everyone he's come in contact with, despite them getting out of the way of his fire pit where he planned on incinerating Zack Ryder. He's a monster and he's coming back big. Where do you think he's going?
I think it would be rushed if they schedule a match at Royal Rumble. I'm going to be honest. I think Kane, and we all know Kane's history at the Royal Rumble. He's always the guy that takes like 4 people to eliminate, and he eliminates like half the roster, in the Royal Rumble match. So I think look for the pay-per-view after Royal Rumble for him to have a John Cena or Zack Ryder or something feud. I think we're going to have some more mind games. This isn't the end of Kane's reign. It's because Zack Ryder threw a pallet of wood or whatever. And I think we'll see more. And this is what I loved, when they had the background skit and Kane's hiding in the background.
That was, yeah,
like
all
Zack
those
Ryder
were
was
very
brushing
eerie.
his teeth in 7 o'clock at night for some reason, and then Kane just watching him. I love that.
Yeah, that's kind of some classic Kane. The mind games and all that. I love to see that. So Kane's just great, and I love to see that.
That's about it. Yeah.
Let's move on into the Edge and the Four Horsemen inducted into the Hall of Fame. Great choices. And we've also seen Mil Mascaras, one of my favorite luchadors, favorite wrestlers, go into the Hall of Fame. Just great.
Do you think it's too early for Edge? Do you think Edge shouldn't? You think Edge should have waited a year before he goes right into the Hall?
Oh, yeah, a year at least.
A year at least.
That's way too early. I actually read an interview with him. He almost thinks it's too early, to the point where it's surreal. He doesn't know if he deserves it, I'm sure. Hall of Fame is a big deal. At least I feel it is. Some of the greatest wrestlers of all time, most of them are in there.
And Drew Carey.
And Drew Carey is in the Hall of Fame, for those of you who don't know.
But I think, first off, I'm sure Edge will love being inducted. But the Four Horsemen, Ric Flair's on TNA. Will he show up? Will he be there? Arn Anderson doesn't care. He doesn't seem like a guy who would care at all about the Hall of Fame.
Arn Anderson?
Arn Anderson, yeah.
If he's working backstage in WWE, I'm sure he'll kind of come up and take a bow.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll show up.
But it's a big honor. It is a big honor to be in that Hall of Fame. So lots of Hall of Fame news going on now that it's this time of year. So we're going to hit you guys with the lockup, which is our question. We like to hear you guys' answers in the comments. Question is, who do you guys want to see in the Hall of Fame this year? A lot of greats. Alec, I know he's got his number one contender to be in.
Number one, Jake Roberts. It's about time this man gets in the Hall of Fame. Now, he hasn't done a lot title-wise. Actually, he has never won a title belt, which is depressing. But the man invented the DDT.
One of the greatest moves in all of wrestling.
Exactly. And he had great ring work. He had great charisma. He was an overall creative gimmick. It was odd, obviously, but the gimmick, it was fresh, and it lasted, which is probably the highest thing you can do with a gimmick. It's how you rate how great it is.
Yeah, you keep it fresh.
Yeah, you kept it fresh. So, for all those things, just put him in. And he's had a long enough reign with the WWE in which he could deserve. He's had some great WrestleMania and pay-per-view matches. He's put on some fantastic bouts. Please put him in.
The question, I think, is does his alcoholic nature, I don't know if he's over now, but his alcoholic nature, does that cancel out the fact that he should be in the WWE Hall of Fame?
It could. I think it very well could.
Also, does the fact that he never won a championship title cancel out the fact he should be in?
I mean, I'm sure there are wrestlers who've never won a title that are in.
Right.
Just for their impact. So I don't think that matters as much as his addiction. It could matter. It could weigh a lot. Or they could have come to terms, and they could have looked past it. Because he's never done anything wrong against the company. It's not like they have any bad blood other than the addiction. And I do believe WWE offered to put him in rehab a while ago. And I'm not sure if it worked or not, but it's a nice offer, a nice gesture. They're looking after their former wrestlers, which is a fantastic thing to do.
Yeah, and if we're looking at the way that the WWE looks at Jake the Snake, Vince McMahon himself said on the Jake the Snake DVD that he's a potential Hall of Famer. And you're going to bring up whether or not Vince McMahon is,
trustable.
Can we trust his words? I know that. But, now that the words are in the air and now that we've heard it, how long can they just float around until he actually puts that to action? I
think Roberts is going to have to prove himself to the company if he really wants it. I don't think he even cares that much because it's just a thing. It's not like a prestigious thing because so many wrestlers are in it. Now, I'm sure Roberts would like to be in the Hall of Fame, but I think if he wants to get in, he has to clean up his act. And the same thing applies to one of my favorite wrestlers, the Honky Tonk Man, who was a great wrestler. Okay, according to WWE.com, he was the longest reigning Intercontinental champion.
He had the longest streak.
The longest streak. I'm sorry. He had great technical prowess. His gimmick, although obviously not that creative,
cheesy,
it was fun. It was a fun gimmick, and the shake, rail, and roll was awesome. And that's all I can say about that. I would love to see Honky get in, but you are aware of his shoots and, his slanders against everyone in WWE. So they're not going to do it because they're friends. They're not going to put him in because they're buddy-buddy.
I just thought of this. The Iron Sheik obviously has one of the longest histories of slandering the WWE. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So maybe it's not exactly
but I think that was fan service because Iron Sheik has a cult following because he gets drunk on the Howard Stern show.
I'm sure Honky Tonk's had at least a little cult following. But, whether or not that's true. So, guys, who do you want to see in the Hall of Fame this year? These are our picks. Tell us yours. We'll see you guys at the end of this week, right before our Friday Night SmackDown. Maybe after. We'll see how it goes. Please comment and subscribe. We love to hear what you guys have to say. We'll see you at the end of this week. Thank you very much.
Bye.